the foundation we have at Realm is that we use the Enneagram to understand, but not as a definition. There's so much misconstrued about people thinking they're a certain number and they're not. Like some people will say like, well, then you're creating it if you think that you are that number. What's the point?
I guess there's like twofold. One, it's you need to know your dysfunction. Your Enneagram type is your dysfunctional personality. It's your Enneagram has a relationship to low stress, medium stress, and high stress. So depending on what psychological stress you're under, you run a program. You're actually in a patterned response to things. And there's something cool about learning your Enneagram through that lens because it makes your suffering impersonal.
Hmm.
It makes the things that you struggle with the ways that you identify the like behaviors that you do, an actual program that you selected upon arriving on Earth. And they're constructed through the conditions that we perceive. But isn't it fascinating through billions, trillions of people on the Earth that there's 9 programs that get selected to operate through? Like, is that not a representation of like living in a video game of like, here are the 9 characters that you
You get to
get,
choose from.
you choose your avatar?
Which dysfunction draws you in the most? What would you like to
Right.
play with today?
Yeah, what would you like to play with today? And you get to dress your avatar differently, eats different foods or whatever, blah blah, but it's the same ultimate. It has the same weaknesses and superpowers. I'm like reminded of Jumanji and
Yeah,
the new Jumanji, and it's like
yeah.
you like boing and you like see what the strengths are
Strengths and
and you see
weaknesses
what
are.
the weaknesses are. And it's like that's it. And most people relate to the Enneagram for empowerment, for like knowing about themselves and like what they're good at. But that's the like biggest illusion. It's the biggest trap because the Enneagram is the pattern of your ego and it is your limitation because the one selecting that program is an infinite being, is pure creative spirit, is a soul choosing to be embodied. And your true power lies outside of that programming.
Right.
But the Sufis say your dysfunctional personality is the door to your soul, is the portal to your soul. And so that's why knowing yourself is so important. That's why knowing your Enneagram, knowing the structure of your patterning is so important because without the awareness of the ways in which you create the limiting experience in your life, you don't have a choice to live outside of it.
The other thing that I can see is people, and I have heard this before, it's like, well, I'm a 5, so I blank. And it's like the 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 excuse
Mm-hmm.
generator. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Yeah, well, that leads us to the quote that's so often used in self-help or I don't know, I can't think of the word of magic or life happens outside of your comfort zone. And so when people, identify with their number, when they're like, I am this, and
Mhm.
that's why I'm this way, and that's just what has to be accepted, that's people living inside their comfort zone, which is often riddled with discomfort, suffering, challenges, whatever. But because it's what's known for them, it's what's comfortable. And so it's very easy to use it just like people do with astrology or human design or whatever to go, oh, well, that's just, I'm not built for that because I'm a 6 on the Enneagram. That's too stressful for me. So I keep myself from those circumstances or conditions or whatever because this is the way I am.
Hmm.
If that is not the epitome of imprisonment, like I don't know what is, but it's people lean into it, they lean back on it because it feels so much safer to know and to have those boundaries than to live in the magic which exists entirely in the unknown, entirely
Right.
in the formless potential that we are in fact inherently connected to at all times. But it's also very scary if you are identified with that structure, with my type. I'm a 9 personality type, and it's like, oof, well, it, you know, I can see how easy it would be for me to hermit myself, to go live far
Hmm.
away from everyone, not have to interact, not have to deal with anybody else's energy, not have to,
Hmm.
because my experience as a 9 is like, then I'm not allowed to. If any of that is going on, then I'm not allowed to. So if I can remove all of that stuff from me,
Right.
then I feel okay.
Right. Right.
I have no tension, there's no conflict, it's all good. You know, it's interesting because I've spent a lot of time like fact checking this intuition that I have, but there's a lot of spiritual practices that are typed in the Enneagram. So, like
Yeah.
the Buddhist
Hmm.
spirituality type of like being detached, sitting in a cave, finding your inner peace, and being totally like that's such a 9, such a 9 desire. It's like nobody to deal with, nobody to be bothered by. This is how you achieve enlightenment, you know?
Like me, like my tendency, right? The like compartmentalization in me is just show everybody what they want to see all the time.
Yeah.
Again, creates peace between everyone, creates, I can navigate that, I can do that, it's logical, but what does that do? That like literally traps me inside my head of consideration and slowly tortures me to death for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so comfortable for you.
Used to be.
I mean, what you just described is how we teach and talk about perception, right? It's the water we swim in. You don't even know you're in the water. You're like, this is just how this is how existence works. This
Right.
is this I'm in control because I get to decide what I show to who, when, what conversations I have, how much time I spend with somebody. Well, it's like I get to construct all of that. And so that this is it. This is the comfort. This is I've mastered life, right?
That didn't even feel like controlling at the time. It felt like this is what I have to do.
Right. This is the only way to be. This is what I
Yeah.
have to do.
Yeah.
This is yeah, and that is the experience of living in your perception. And you don't know that you're swimming in that water. You have no idea until what happens, until something happens inside of you that goes, is this it? Is
Yep.
this what life is?
Yep.
Because why does that happen? That happens because your programming is not who you are.
Hmm.
Who you are goes, hey, what the fuck is going on?
Oh, I'm still here.
Hello, do you
It's
remember
been
how
almost
to
30
play?
years. Can I come out now?
I remember how to play.
Can I
Can you
come
teach
back?
me how to play? Without initiation, without like wisdom keepers or teachers, which we don't really have in our society anymore, then opposition comes into play.
Mm.
Rebellion, then the pendulum swings to the other side. You know, it's like you're a good Christian and you didn't have sex till marriage and you didn't do drugs and you didn't party and you didn't whatever. And then you reach a point in your life where you're married and your kids are a certain age and you're just like, I missed everything. And so then you go and you party and you do drugs and you drink and you blah blah, and then you get into a big car accident or whatever, and it proves to you that you know that way of life isn't good. And that's the pendulum swing, and
Right.
then it shoots you back into the prison and you're like, I'll just be complacent here because the other one is like worse than it's not the freedom I was looking for. And people miss the middle, they miss the neutrality point where the true expression of ourselves exists.